Mic check, coming to you live from the compound, the Let's Legalize Wisconsin compound here. Thank you for stopping out, everybody, for another fresh episode of the podcast with Bobby Beans. Much love to our first shower-uppers, Jill and Heath. Thank you for stopping out. Much love, guys. Hopefully, y'all had a great holiday weekend. Got to enjoy an extra day, hopefully. If you had to work, hopefully, got an extra day off. Yeah, lots of exciting stuff happening, including some stuff here in Wisconsin, which makes me very excited. We got Randy here. We've got Jeremiah in the house. Thanks, everybody, for stopping out. Jill says the baby come. Not yet. We are scheduled for the 16th. So this could be one of the last shows as a non-parent. Looking forward to it very much. Super excited. I gotta stop buying clothes, man. Facebook Marketplace is on to me, and when there's a deal, like I can't afford to buy like new clothes, and because I would be broke. I mean, I wanted to look great and all this, but man, now I keep running into people that got like 20 outfits, and they're like Nike and cool for like 20. Oh my god, my wife is gonna kick my ass, but it is what it is. We're gonna stick to the topic of cannabis here on the show because that's what we do here. Jill says, tomorrow is my husband's birthday. Happy early birthday to Mr. W. Appreciate everybody. Oh, yesterday was her son's. Holy crap. All right, Jill. She's got a busy month this month, Jill does. So appreciate you taking some time to stop out here on the show and join us on the podcast. Quick shout out to our sponsor. You'll notice Higher Love is not there at the moment. We are actually in talks with a couple different exciting things. Our contract with them, or our partnership with them, was up as of last month. And we'll keep you posted. We got a few exciting things ready to pop off here, so stay tuned for some news. Trying to hook it up with y'all so that we get you guys some discounts whichever way we go, because it's about hooking you guys up as well. Without you guys, this wouldn't be here. So Jay's here. Classes in session. Let's get to it, folks. We've got some exciting news. Let's kick it over here to the news desk. We've got the Indigenous-led campaign launches in Wisconsin to support medicinal cannabis use. This is awesome. Shout out to a couple folks who will be touching base on here in the article. Excuse me, hiccups. It's the worst time for hiccups right in the beginning of the show. Like, let's get it together just as love the show. Hey, appreciate that, Joe. Here's a quote from Rob Perro, who we've had on the show here not too long ago, from the Indigenous Cannabis Industry Association. In the article, here's his comment. Right now, there's no bill up for legalizing cannabis in our state. We know that we've been sort of stuck in the middle of a prohibition island here between these three other states surrounding us, where our citizens are having to make a choice of whether they really commit a crime to go get their medicine and bring it back to the state. Exactly. That is the frustratingest part of this thing, or the most frustrating part of this thing, is it's not like we're throwing out an idea that hasn't been done before or hasn't happened anywhere near us. It is all around us. It is not rocket science at this point. It's all around us. Our neighbors have figured it out. According to the article here, Perro joined other Indigenous leaders, state elected officials, and affected Wisconsin families at the Capitol Tuesday to announce a public awareness campaign, which is called Wisconsin Wellness. The new Indigenous-led effort will call for the legalization of medicinal cannabis in Wisconsin and work to increase access to communities across the Badger State. Mr. Perro stated here saying, we understand the need. We know veterans with PTSD, people with debilitating ailments, chronic pain. This is an adult choice, a responsible solution to bring medicine to our state, to really benefit our communities and make them well again. Exactly. That is, I think we could all agree that the medicinal part of the plant is definitely our forefront focus. And again, if it was a legit medical rollout or a bill that we're talking about, not the I don't even know what we call that thing that they came up with, the Republicans did last year, the 4 state-run dispensaries, pill form only. Like, that is not getting medicine to the people. That is trying to get the pharmaceutical company involved and make money for the state, and not at all looking at getting quality of product to a consumer, right? So, Heather's here from Kansas City. She's chilling in her she shed that she's got going on back there with the dogs. Thanks for stopping out, Heather. So checking in here, it looks like some of the other people that were at this announcement were Kristen White Eagle, District 2 representative for the Ho Chunk Nation. And she's one of the directors of Wisconsin Wellness. On Tuesday, she said it's long past time for Wisconsin to accept cannabis legalization. She's quoted as saying, "I think it's time that we end that prohibition. We allow this to be a choice for people who need this medicinal cannabis for their lives." Yes. White Eagle recalled the struggles of her own grandfather, who survived being a prisoner of war during the Korean War and did 2 tours in Vietnam. She's quoted here, "This would have been really his lifesaver for not only his relationships with his family, but in his own state of mind and his wellness." She added, "If we had the ability to help our veterans in that way, it would have been crucial for many relationships that he had." Exactly. White Eagle said it is imperative that Wisconsin become a state of choice for medicinal cannabis. And again, this article is coming to you from the Wisconsin Examiner. It looks like if we're pulling out some other information from here, it looks like they touched on the fact that, like we've talked about Senator Agard's bill, that he's getting shot down by Voss, and there's never been any traction on that, unfortunately. And it looks like Agard is quoted as saying, "We shared our stories. We learned what we shared values from those conversations. People would approach me in the hushed tones and talk from behind their hands saying, 'I think what you're working on,' wink, wink, nod, nod. Today, people are much more vocal about their support for legalization, despite an enduring sense. Even having the conversation carries a stigma. Wisconsin is one of just 12 states with no form of legalized cannabis. Agard hopes that campaigns like Wisconsin Wellness will bring the conversation out of the shadows and into our main streets across the state of Wisconsin." Yes, yes, yes. This is awesome. It looks like Agard also was touching on legalizing and taxing cannabis in Wisconsin, just like we already do with alcohol, will ensure that we have a controlled market that is safer for our communities and provide opportunities of health and security for people like Nora and other folks across the state of Wisconsin. Nora was one of the young ladies that made it out here. I want to see if they had a story on her. Real quick, we got Alex in the house. What's going on, my man? Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. It looks like, where'd it go here? Nora, here we go. Nora. Although there are pharmaceutical options available to help control seizures, chronic pain, and other conditions, Nora's family says they are not as effective or as safe as cannabis has been for her. Just by using HIP, Nora's family has been able to take her off 4 pharmaceutical medicines using CBD and just 1 anti-seizure medication now. Here's a quote: "We could get off the anti-seizure med if we had THC more readily available, which is what really helps her condition, at least from our understanding at this point," said Nora's father, Josh. "It's all about having the right to try something that's natural, right? Because what we have found out when we went down the pharmaceutical route was, oh, here's this thing, but it causes this other thing. And oh, here's another medicine to fix that thing that we just caused. And you're just plugging holes to leaks that keep popping up from that medication." Exactly. That is one of the biggest things. I mean, it is just crazy the amount of medication some people are on, just to what started out as one issue, but the side effects of a man-made substance that then okay, let's not over exert ourselves here. Cannabis is not a cure-all for everybody or for everything. What I think it can do, especially with bringing legalization and more studies, is find out what it can do for people exactly, because everybody's different. So you can't just do a normal standardized test and say, here's how it's going to affect everybody if they take this much, right? Like, we have seen it help so many different people with so many different things. Excuse me, really, each individual who wants to get the most from it needs their own, like, sit down understanding one-on-one with a cannabis expert to understand the different ways to figure out what works best for you. It's a lengthy process because there's so many different strains, terpenes, ratios. There's just so much to it. We need to have safe access to it, and we need to have the knowledge to it. We need to work together with our community to help folks. But the amount of people I've seen that have been able to get rid of multiple prescriptions just from using a simple plant. There is definitely medicinal value in the plant. It needs to truly be studied and figured out almost on a one-to-one basis. Mohican's in the house. What's up, my man? Appreciate you stopping out. So it's awesome to see that Nora was able to make it out with her family as well to this. Um, and it's really touching base on getting this ball rolling, it sounds like, as far as getting the medicine in the hands of the people. So much love to our friends and family over at Wisconsin Wellness. We're hoping to help them and back them in any initiatives they have or any ways that we can help them. We will always be a source for all things news that they have going on to try to get that to the people. Because again, folks, this is a us thing. This is all of us. It is essentially in a certain amount of politicians against the people of Wisconsin. And we got to stick together. And I'm super proud of this group of folks taking that step in the direction for us. Obviously, we would really like to, but it's trying to figure out how. And, it's crazy to me how to get change done, how much politics, money, red tape is involved as far as like there's posts that we can't share because we're telling people who to vote for. It's just messy. Or even a business, you can't accept, or you're donating to this or what. I just want people to get educated about cannabis. I want you to know who you're voting for and how they stand on cannabis because it's a very important topic. And unfortunately, here in Wisconsin, it's a thing that most politicians just don't talk about and assume it's going to be okay. It shouldn't be. They need to be held accountable. So much kudos to Wisconsin Wellness for getting a ball rolling. We will help push that ball any way we can, and we'll keep you updated on what their happenings are. So much love and respect to the folks over at Wisconsin Wellness, and stay tuned on that. All right, coming up next, we've got, I know this is shocking, but polls show that swing state voters support cannabis legalization, highlighting the opportunity for presidential campaigns. This is another thing that if you've ever watched one of these episodes, it's probably been brought up because it's that frustrating that this is at the epicenter of what we are trying to do, which is enact fair and just change. But again, in the middle of it is this sloppy, you shouldn't have to be doing these campaigns. You shouldn't have to pay to run ads to get elected. You shouldn't have to pay to bash the other person to get elected. You should have a record of here's what I stand for, and here's how I can show you I've always done everything I can to support that. But unfortunately, when it comes to politics in the U.S., apparently there's just a ton of money that nobody sees, that all of a sudden you could be anti-pot forever, see Trump, see Kamala, see Biden, but then I don't know that any of them realized, hey, this is actually good for the people. The majority wants it. You know what? That makes sense. I'm going to go support that now because then you look like you're flip-flopping. But it seems what ends up happening is that these big companies come along and say, hey, we'll donate to your fund to help you get reelected. We'll put $5 million in there if you start supporting like these topics and the way people go back and forth. It's crazy. To me, it's just so frustrating that you can't watch TV, listen to the radio, pick up I don't read the newspaper, like the print copy or the magazine, but I'm guessing there's advertisements in there too. But like, why is everything tearing each other down? I don't know. It's just bizarre to me. But being that we are on one of the hot topics here in Wisconsin, it sounds like we're just going to be seeing more and more of presidential campaigns, people trying to swing their votes. So yeah, that's exciting. But no, what it looks like here, they've got a new public opinion survey in the key presidential election swing states. This looks like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And it shows that voters strongly support cannabis reform, with 84% of respondents in favor of medical cannabis. 84. That's crazy. That's wonderful. That is a very high number. That's awesome. And 62% backing broader adult use legislation. Looks like the poll was released over the weekend by Ragnar Research. Also found that nearly 2 in 3 Florida voters support an adult use legalization measure on the state's November ballot. We're going to be touching on that here in just a minute. And then it looks like pollsters conclude in the new report that likely voters in swing states are overwhelmingly in support of responsible modernization of American cannabis policy, and that we see reform as a way to expand healthcare options and cut off funding to internal drug cartels. Yes, I can get on board with that. And if I would have taken this survey, I would be check mark. Yes, that's me. I'm voting that way as far as my beliefs on cannabis. Here's a quote. There is a real desire in the swing states for clear laws, fair laws that mitigate overcriminalization and responsible laws legalizing cannabis for anyone 21 years or older, the report says. It remains to be seen which campaign will capitalize on this opportunity first. Voters want responsible legalization where the laws of the country match the realities in their communities. Excuse me, bingo. Bingo. It is a realization. The people already know cannabis helps a lot of folks. Again, I might not technically be considered medical. A lot of our people who want legalization, it might not be considered medical. But for the well-being of myself, for my struggles with ADHD during the day, and then to be able to shut that off at the end of the night when I want to go to bed and to relieve my back of pain without having to take acetaminophen, that might not be classified as medical, but like for my body, for me personally, it is a medicinal use. But I can see where that's considered adult responsible use or recreational, whatever. For people who, I mean, the world is crazy, folks. So if people want to use something to calm down, right? Like Nick's in the house. What's up, Nick? Thanks for stopping by. So yeah, it's kind of neat to see that this is in the swing states, not just Wisconsin. This is what I would expect. But it's good to see that in a poll, in numbers, being able to share this with elected officials who continue to sit back. This article kind of ties into the next one. So we're going to switch it up and go to that one first. Okay, this is not a pro-Trump broadcast. This is not a pro-Trump movement. This is not a pro-Trump anything. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. What I do think could be a plus, and I think, you know, with how messy politics and the world is today, I try to look at what can we do to take 20 pounds of bullshit, sort through it, and come out with something. Right? That's kind of how it is. There's not just one, here's how you do something anymore, because there's so many different avenues, so many different, it's crazy out there with anything, right? What I think we have for wherever this is coming from, whether Trump is desperate for votes, Trump is whatever the play is here, this is a good thing for us by far. Reason being, Trump all of a sudden is talking cannabis. Kamala all of a sudden, like, I haven't heard much the last week or two as far as, like, especially kind of be on like a high horse about wanting to reschedule, not just reschedule, but I haven't heard anything on the take for like Florida for trying to help push her. I don't know. It's something seemed to kind of slow down a little bit in her camp. All of a sudden, Trump's camp is ramping up about cannabis. Remember, Trump is the guy who our politicians in Wisconsin that are holding this up, holding us back from our freedom. This is their guy. This is their leader. This is their superior being. And he is talking about legalization, and it could be very good. Like, we'll break into a little bit what he said, but we have to use this as a plus. We can't just sit back and say, oh, it's Trump. He says anything. He does, right? Probably more than any politician ever. Okay, I'm not telling you have to vote for him, nor should you. I'm not. That's you vote for who you vote for. But this, bringing cannabis up and supporting it in any way, needs to be a tool that we use to take away these barriers that Republicans in Wisconsin set up. Because for the longest time, you could kind of just, well, yeah, Trump doesn't talk about it, we aren't going to talk about it. He doesn't approve it, we're not going to approve it. Again, not saying you should vote for Trump, folks. I'm not saying that at all. However, again, this is a play in the right direction. Politics is all about the malarkey, the bullshit, the trying to confuse the people or whatever the hell they actually do. I don't know, right? Nothing seems cut and dry. We need to start leveraging what we can, because we see with how long it's taking for us to legalize, we can't just all say we support something and expect it to happen here in Wisconsin, right? Because they don't listen. So this is stuff that we need to use as tools, in my opinion, to get this thing the attention and the responses from politicians that we deserve. So here's an article. I don't know if you saw, but Trump had a sit down on Monday, some kind of a podcast. Forget the gentleman. But Trump was saying medical cannabis has been absolutely amazing for patients, and that a Florida initiative to more broadly legalize cannabis, which we've talked about for a long time, that Amendment 3, he's quoted as saying is going to be very good for the state after it passes, which he expects to happen. He said during an interview on Lex Friedman's podcast, that's what it was, that medical cannabis has been amazing. He's had friends, and I've had others and doctors tell me that it's been absolutely amazing. The medical marijuana. Again, no politician in Wisconsin, no Republican is saying that. Please use this as an opportunity to see that your leader is okay talking about the truth about cannabis, right? We should hold our Republicans to these same standards. We already should have, but they like to play this game. Now we have more ammo, right? We have to use this as a tool to get these people not to just be able to stand behind some facade. Trump referenced the recent social media post he made about Florida's amendment. He said, we can live with cannabis, he said. It's going to be a certain age to purchase. It's going to be done in a very concerted, lawful way. And the way they're doing it in Florida, I think, is going to be actually good. It's going to be very good. Oh, God, this sounds like Trump. But it's got to be done in a good way. It's got to be done in a clean way. He added that his campaign will be putting out an additional, more specific statement detailing his cannabis position within the next week. See, that is big. Again, don't use this to go vote for Trump. I'm not saying we need to vote Trump to legalize at all. Not whatsoever. But the fact that the party who hasn't talked about cannabis in a good way to the public is suddenly doing that has to somehow be able to help us with what we're trying to do. Just checking in to say, keep it green, my friend. Thanks for the show. Hey, Dennis, you bet, man. Appreciate you swinging by, brother. Looking forward to catching up at Hempfest. So again, he's putting out more information. That's good. More places are going to be talking about this. Get the dialogue out there. For whatever reason, Republicans the elected officials just hide behind. We don't have to talk about it. Our leader doesn't. Your leader's talking about it. Talk to it with us. He's seemingly figuring out a way to do it. Like Jeremiah says, political parties shouldn't matter. How each candidate stands on the issue should be the only thing that matters. Exactly. It's silly that this is even a thing. But he continued to say here, you take a look at the numbers. It's been very hard to beat it. He said, referencing the polling. So I think it'll generously pass, but you want to do it in a safe way. Someone should not be a criminal in Florida when it's legal in so many other states. Exactly. That is a very good point. Dennis also brings up a good point, but is Trump really a Republican? The party really doesn't stand behind him on many issues. That is fair. Definitely. But again, politically speaking, he's a Republican, right? We got to play their game. He's their leader. You know, I totally get what you're saying. But again, we got to find something to get these Republicans to talk to us about cannabis. So I think this could really help as far as that goes. So we will keep an eye on that and keep you posted as that goes. That ties into a checkup with our buddy down in Florida, Mr. DeSantis, who again is the Robin Voss of Florida as far as their take on cannabis and their education level on cannabis. DeSantis, I was interested to see this. DeSantis continues to push against Florida legalization initiative despite Trump's support in new polling. And this would, again, correlate with what Dennis is saying, because obviously DeSantis is a Republican. Knowing how strongly he's been against it, I saw this continuing. But in theory, hey, your boss is now saying, this way is better. Why aren't they following suit? So I get what you're saying, Dennis, with the difference there. Heather says he's an idiot. Oh, goodness. Glad you said, Nami. As a new poll again shows majority support for Florida legalization ballot initiative, and the campaign behind the measure rolls out a new ad featuring a law enforcement official endorsing the proposal, DeSantis is continuing to beat the drum in opposition to the reform. And again, the reason we keep an eye on DeSantis, I can't prove this. I don't know. Somebody would be able to prove this, but nobody that would be able to go public with it. Because of DeSantis's stance against cannabis and how crazily tunnel visioned he is on it, and how Voss is like that too, I think that this guy and Voss and the Republican Party in Wisconsin are being told or paid or bought from the same people. Because again, let's see what he says, but it's always there's going to be 48 joints per kid in school. No, nobody said that, Rob. That's a terrible idea. The latest survey from the Florida Chamber of Commerce, which is against the cannabis initiative, found 59% likely to back it, but it needs 60 to pass. Says here the lack of movement and support from Floridians over the past year comes despite more than $75 million being raised to promote this amendment. The failure to build momentum for the amendment displays that the concerns about Amendment 3 raised by Governor DeSantis and others is resonating with many Floridians. Looks like they reached out to the organization. The organization didn't release the specific question voters were asked in the survey, which involved interviews with 600 likely voters. But other recent polling signals that the measure does have enough support to reach that 60% threshold. Despite those numbers, as well as Donald Trump, presidential candidate, Donald Trump's newly announced tactic support for Amendment 3, Governor Ron DeSantis has not relented in his efforts to convince voters against the measure. On Monday, the governor responded to a tweet from Florida Senator Jonathan Martin, who voiced concerns about the initiative language, arguing that it would only allow for restrictions on public smoking of medical versus recreational cannabis. And then DeSantis down here, we need the state legislature to responsibly create laws that prohibit the use of it in public spaces so we do not smell marijuana everywhere we go like we do in many of the Democrat-run cities. At the time, someone should not be a criminal in Florida when this is legal in so many other states. We do not need to ruin lives and waste taxpayer dollars. It looks like the campaign's Smart and Safe Florida has strongly contested claims that proposed policy would tie the hands of lawmakers to set regulations for adult use, including public consumption restrictions. So basically where they came out, they said, don't let the prohibitionists scare you. Yes, on 3, with legislator has every right to enact public consumption laws, just like they already do with alcohol and tobacco, which is what I would think it should be. Dennis says, if it's my body, my choice, why not take the money out of cannabis and focus on home growing rights? I say screw the taxes, regulations, and licenses. I agree. I think that home grow should be, especially like a bartering system, kind of like we've talked about in the past. So again, maybe I can't see everybody that enjoys cannabis growing it. I think a lot of folks would get excited to try it. I do think it might be too much work for some of them, but people who can dial it in, then when you're picking up, you want to buy a lawnmower from your buddy, you just trade 2 ounces or something but no, I agree that home grow should be included in any kind of legalization effort to really keep it, to the basic level, which is we deserve to grow it without having to pay all these taxes and crap on it. As far as that goes. So again, we'll always be keeping an eye on DeSantis. I think they are tied to similar structures down there in Florida that we are here in Wisconsin when it comes to what the roadblocks are, just because they seem to be so, the blocks are so built up. It's just kind of crazy. Nick says they love growing cannabis. Boy, how many people grow tomatoes because they sell them at Home Depot? That is true. That is a good point. They do sell them at Home Depot. Oh, I see what you're saying. It would be a lot easier if you could just go pick up the plant and then transplant it. That I think would even get more people into cannabis that kind of way. That seedling stage can be pretty delicate, but once you get it dialed in, right? But yeah, I agree. Either way, I would love to. Like, I think that would almost be one of the coolest, most like, what's the word I'm looking for? Most enjoyable jobs. Like, if I could somehow just pay the bills, but be able to help people like set up grows if they got questions, send a picture, or like, I think that's a really neat thing, and it takes some hands on. I think a lot of it can be done through pictures, like, hey, what's my plant need? You see some of that out there, but I think if you could have like, Green Bay, this side of town has this expert who helps and comes to your house or whatever, and all you gotta do is give him a couple joints for his time or something. Like, yeah, it's cool. How many people? There's YouTube. Yeah, there are. Hey, I get that, Nick. They're pretty easy to follow for the most part. I will give you that. Just got to have some patience. But that is what we have got for this week as far as news. Again, I think the biggest thing is Wisconsin making some noise. Again, shout out to Wisconsin Wellness. Whoa, I just removed myself instead of that. That was weird. For getting that ball rolling, we will gladly be supporting that for the time to come and keep you updated on anything there. As far as events goes, we've got the March to the Capitol is going to be on the 29th. And Dennis says, I offer those services. 1.5 pounds per light guaranteed. Looking for help? LOL. Oh, okay. That might work. That's awesome. 1.5 for light. Okay. We'll let everybody get back to their business for the evening. Get back to your family time or whatever you got going on. Friendly reminder, stay elevated, stay educated, and please educate those around you about the benefits of cannabis. It is worth fighting for. Jeremiah says, I really like the Seed to Harvest educational videos on YouTube. At a boy. Nick says, I'll be there for HempFest 24. Let's go. That's a 600 watt LED. Okay, that's fair, though. That's fair. Hope everybody has a great evening. We'll catch you next Wednesday, unless the pen decides to come, but I'll post some kind of an update to keep you guys in the loop. And again, hopefully we'll have some exciting news with the sponsorship rolling forward and get you guys hooked up with. I'm trying to figure out if somebody will do like a membership where like you're just, anytime you go there, you get a discount because because we are a part of Let's Legalize Wisconsin. And then you would just go to a dispensary. Every time you go there, you can use the code. I mean, I appreciate Higher Love and the one-time use, but like, I want to get you guys, save y'all some money more than one time. So hopefully we'll be able to figure that out. I'll keep you posted. Much love from Bobby Beans. We're out of here. See you guys later. Adios. Hasta luego. I think that's what they say. I don't know. Either way, see you.